just cannot wait to get into this one because this is going to be a banger from start to finish, Lando.
Yeah, it absolutely is. It's going to be a phenomenal way for all of us to close out our Major 2 qualifiers in preparation for the Boston Major next weekend. As we said, a historical rivalry between two of these COD brands last season. It was OpTic Texas who dominated this rivalry in Vanguard 5-1. We'll see how MW2 treats us as we fly in for Embassy Game 1. And as we jump in, Jay, talk to me about why this hardpoint is so important, specifically for which side of the screen.
I think it's very important for OpTic Texas because that map number 2 in Embassy Search and Destroy, that's Atlanta FaZe's best Search and Destroy map, undefeated on that one. So this is where you have to catch Atlanta FaZe lacking, because on a map like this, they are dead last in rotations, but for OpTic Texas' sake, they are 11th in rotations. So it's going to be a fight for low spawns throughout this entire game.
Yeah, without a doubt. And I think the biggest indicator, the biggest thing that we took away as 3 do end up falling in favor of OpTic Texas, Jay, was in that series versus Las Vegas Legion. Both of those hard points were losses. And oftentimes you were talking to me saying, hey, yeah, it just came down to rotations. It came down to the opposition and Vegas Legion just being one step ahead of the game. We'll see if OpTic can adjust now as Shotzzy starts things off with 2.
OpTic already off to a better start. They only give up 18 seconds at P1. They maintain the better side of the spawns for that P2, but Celium rips Shotzzy apart towards back kitchen. Still in control of the better side, so OpTic Texas are going to be able to take the lead, but with Hook losing that gunfight on towards Street, Atlanta FaZe are able to put pressure on that side of the map, and potentially the break is about to come in.
Yeah, Dashy a little slow to adapt. 3 members quickly behind him. Now it's time for Ilva to try and adapt, try to take down the forces of Atlanta that come screaming just right on into the hard point. Atlanta will keep that lead in for now. Only player that's really going to be an opportunity to challenge this is Hook. So if you're OpTic, it's a matter of, do we want to try to push for the final 15, or do we then to go for the full-on rotation? It appears that they are going straight for the HP. Not going to work out in their favor. Atlanta awarded the scrap, and OpTic Texas, well, they'll still net the next rotation.
And now they find themselves going into the P3, where statistically this has been a very difficult hill for OpTic Texas to find some success on. They win the rotation, so they're here early, but it's all about these gunfights to initially start in favor of Atlanta FaZe. Now the pressure's coming right along towards the bridge. They do win the first gunfight, but you have to at least stall time for your teammates to get into play. Not that much time, though, because Slasher finds 2, but it's Dashy finds 3 to relieve that pressure. OpTic, they hold on.
That was a great little moment there for Slasher, but as you said, man, Dashy just there to cut all 3 of them down. As Simp eager to go for the trade. How often do we talk about his opportunity and really his presence around the map as he eventually does get found out? That is Dashy continuing to clean house toward the top side of the AC. The guy's really sprinting off the top of a building with a knife out. Incredibly confident. But as we do begin to end out the final 15 over at ACs, it will be Atlanta winning the scrap points, it appears. The Dashy streak is definitely something to highlight, Jay. Now he's a 14-6.
Yeah, Dashy. He's not missing so far in this opening hardpoint. Already has that cruise missile to work with, but now it's on these gunfights for the rotation. You saw the way that Abizi was just able to finesse his way around, find 2 kills, winning initial fights to get control of this hill early on. But that's going to be 2 going back and forth for both squads. Atlanta FaZe hill holding strong.
Oh, but looked like for a moment, Illy actually turns around, starts shooting at his good old buddy in Shotzzy. The Zeo trio maybe a little bit caught up inside of the office as things begin to settle, the dust begins to settle, the smoke begins to dissipate. Atlanta now with the time at their backside, Set begin called upon to try to deal with the early and aggressive fights coming in from the OpTic boys. Now it's gonna be Hook's turn, rushing in and blind.
Oh, wow.
Once more, OpTic cannot find a pick, and Simp is starting to heat up, Jay.
And you gotta start to rotate if you are OpTic. Couldn't find the break over towards that P4. That's because that's one of the money hills for Atlanta FaZe on this map. They are second overall in hold percentage, but the hill that they specifically struggle on is going to be this P5, where OpTic Texas should be set up early on. You have Celium with the SMG in hand, trying to push the pressure on through the backside of kitchen, trying to flip these spawns. You have to hold your guns up and win these gunfights. If you are early, you're in a key spot.
Oh, well, that'll help out. That will absolutely help out. Thank you very much, Slasher. Greatly appreciated. He has worn green previously, but this time, it is OpTic Texas seeing the benefits by Celium's downfall. However, 2 quickly spawn just right behind P5. We'll see if OpTic Texas can deal with a level of aggression. Abizi and Sip quickly drop. Slasher, who did have that unfortunate team kill a little bit earlier, now reunites with Celium toward the stairwell. But it is all sunny skies so far here for OpTic Texas. Through halfway into this HP, they have been flawless. The first time that Atlanta can even see inside of the kitchen. However, they find all 4.
They find the break. Now this remaining 20 seconds can potentially be theirs, but none other than Dashy finding that initial kill, starting off the trade battle. It's going to be a 2-on-2 in towards point, but it's Celium able to come out on top until Shotzi wins the 1-on-1 for the final 5 seconds. OpTic Texas, they get a little bit closer back into this game with a great kitchen hold. But now you have to do better this time around in the second rotations. Don't allow Atlanta FaZe to get a chunk of time off of this P1. As long as you're trying to maintain these spawns for OpTic Texas going into P2, just can't give a ball this time.
Oh my goodness, Dashy is absolutely frying. Now at 21 and 10, and we're just now into the second set of rotations. What a interesting situation, Jay, that Dashy now finds himself in. What a wild ride these last few weeks have been. Gets called back to the team, now sits in a headline series versus Atlanta FaZe. He's just days away from going to a major that he did not think he was even going to be at. And right now he's frying versus one of the CDL's best. Eventually does hit the deck as both teams continue to battle for those spawns. 10 seconds remaining as now it's Hook's turn to go on a spree.
Yeah, and OpTic Texas, they're spawning over towards tennis side, so they're going to push right up back alley. They know that they want this side of the map, so it's easier to rotate over towards P3. As trades are abound, going back and forth. Simp wins that huge 1-on-1 onto Illy, secures the street connection. And now all you have to do is put your focus on towards back kitchen. Big kill coming in from Dashy, cannot win it, and Atlanta FaZe holds strong.
Shotzi's going to try to make a sizable dent. This is where things start to get a little bit worrisome, and understandably so. Dashy, fiery in the comms, quickly wants to lock in that cruise missile, but Shotzi, I think given that information, is able to find 2. The heads coming clean off there from Atlanta FaZe as OpTic Texas break.
OpTic Texas, they find the break. Closer to that 200, to that 100 point mark. Now it's all about this rotation over towards AC. They did have success early on, but it was on the back of Dashy getting a 3-piece.
Wow.
Hook snaking around, winning the gunfight versus BZ. Final 15 is going to be theirs. There's only one player here from Atlanta. He's going to drop, and that's going to be OpTic Texas with a perfect rotation to get fully set up for P3.
Oh, but these kills coming up are going to be huge. Dashy
Oh, no.
and Shotzi will back-to-back. The nade will take down Bruce, and now it's all going to be on to the Ant-Man. Shotzi tries to go low, eventually does get found out. It looked like for a moment it could have been a chain of hard points back-to-back, and that absolutely would put OpTic Texas in the driver's seat. However, Atlanta able to reply, able to respond. A lot of reps here on Embassy hardpoint, but this has been a battle from the start. As we continue to headbutt inside of top ACs, this time it's Simp who comes away with the fight. Few members close there for OpTic as they'll have the close spawns. Now they look to be in a good spot to grab the final 25.
Yeah, this is some much needed time too, because Atlanta FaZe set themselves up going into the next hill. They take down Hook, which is the closest player to picking up that remaining 25 seconds. So it looked like to be a great break from OpTic Texas. Have no time to show for it. Atlanta FaZe, they're keeping them off. They're winning the rotations to new, and this might be where Atlanta FaZe start to pull away.
Jay, that was perfect. You could not have played it better. If you're Atlanta FaZe, I mean, for a moment, it looked like they might have spread themselves a little bit thin, but the spawns that were close ended up being there. And now here comes the initial attack from OpTic Texas. It's going to have to be a break, especially if they want to have a bit of a foothold into this game. Atlanta continue to reign true, continue to be solid, stacking them up and knocking them down. Once more, coming away with a crucial double. Now at 22 and 19 into the hallway of hesitation as Illy quickly drops. There goes Hook. It is collapse after collapse. The perfect pinch again there from FaZe.
Perfect pinch right there for FaZe. Great hold so far on this P4. Let's step aside and hear the comms are sounding with Atlanta.
Oh, into that.
Nice. One's going bathrooms.
Oh, no,
Let's get bathrooms.
Like that. I'm trying to say they're gonna be orange on you. Or
I'm trying to go top here. I'm trying to he's already in the back.
Oh fuck. Back where?
Anders back tennis. Back tennis.
Like that. Yo, I'm play test at.
He's gonna go top bridge. He's gonna go top
They
bridge.
shot me in cafe. Shotzi's in the back cast too. Not time done. How's the gas?
Other one.
Yeah,
orange is time.
One new. Two near new. What's in cafe? I'm trying to block towers.
I'm spawning. One's back. Top middle or something.
I'm flanking. Right there.
We're flanking.
Back door. One shot. Right there. Nading it.
I think he's far cross. Far cross.
nice.
Hold my left.
Nice.
They're all P2 right now.
I need to
Crossing God roll.
Nice.
Crossing.
I'm spawning orange. I'm
P4
spawning
dead.
Nice. Another crossing.
In front.
Shout your front.
Dead.
Nice.
One's on me,
One's in the back.
Stun dead.
Alright, one's on me now.
Spawning
Orange
here. Spawning sign.
Sign. Dead. They're gonna spawn out now.
Spawning holes now.
Spawning halls.
Yep.
Oh, spawn back alley.
Back P2. One spawn back P2. Spawn deep P2.
I have your front door now, MC. I think he's got. One's going front. One's going front. One's side.
All the way dead.
Nice. One's orange.
Top wall is dead.
Nice.
Nice. I'm trying to go for
gas.
coverage. Yo, they're spawning P2. They're spawning P2.
Yeah, they're spawning P2, I think.
I can hold on the left.
And we heard of Beezy yesterday in his interview at the end. He said, when we're playing loose, we're going to be the best team in the game. And you could just tell the way that Selim is running around the map with the SMG in hand. He's looser than ever, baby. 236 to 146 Atlanta FaZe. 14 seconds away from closing out map 1.
Get this guy Navazda more often. Holy cow, OpTic in a world of pain already. As we're within 15 between Atlanta FaZe, Colin, Gabe, as they begin to group up and try to go for their final descent here into P1. Who can dash you trying to lock things down? They're able to do so, at least for the moment, but that scoreline, it just is not getting any prettier, Jay. OpTic, they've got to focus up, be ready for P2. They've also got to make sure that they cannot allow for Atlanta to win off of P1. They've done just enough, and they've got that rotation. As we like to say, Jay, perfect HP from here on out. It's got to start now.
OpTic Texas do exactly what they need to do. Don't allow Atlanta FaZe to win off of that P1. You win the rotation over towards the next, and now you're fully set up. Because hopefully you got a trophy in place to not get taken down by Selim's streak. No one's going to drop, but the break does come in from Atlanta FaZe. 10 seconds till map 1 is over.
Yeah, Shotzi just trying to find an angle, trying to find a bit of an entry. Does a nice job of taking down a Beezy, so that'll be 3 down. Popping dead silence to try to locate where the 4th one happens to be. He's looking for Celium, lingering out toward the backside of the parking lot. MC issuing out those callouts. Any pick is huge right now for Atlanta. You cannot afford to fall. Playing like it's S&D. OpTic, you got to give it all you got because the opposing team is within 10 points of locking up this hard point. And Beast like Slasher does too. There goes everybody from OpTic Texas, and that will be game 1 in the books. Atlanta FaZe start things off hot.
Atlanta FaZe started off very, very hot in this opening hard point. They just won a majority of their rotations. I think the biggest turning point in the game